Hello and welcome to week 14 of Paula's Run Club, the road to London, brought to you by Hyco, the hydration company that has your hydration covered. And it's with me, Paula Radcliffe.
And me, Christopher Thompson.
And this week, extra special, we have a behind-the-scenes glance at how the BBC coverage comes to life, plus the most special guests of all ever on this podcast. And those most special guests are, of course, you, our listeners. And so we thought, with less than 3 weeks to go, it's getting very, very real now, Thommo, for everybody. We thought we would give the guests a chance to come on and ask their questions and be the stars of this podcast, because let's face it, you listening all over the world, and we are so blown away with how those numbers are growing week on week and the extra countries that are getting added in each week. So thank you so much for your support. And as a big thank you, you are getting the chance to come on to the podcast and ask your questions and tell your stories in person.
No, absolutely, Paula. It's humbling how much people have engaged, sent in messages, and we're trying to answer as many as we can. And it's really lovely. We're going to get to actually virtually meet some more people, meet the community, and try and answer their questions. I'm really looking forward to this episode because it really is bridging that kind of audience to us gap, and in terms of just being able to interact and do as much as we can and enjoy the journeys that everyone's feeling coming into London, because we are getting close. We really are close, but it's the excitement's building as well as the fatigue. So it's going to be a doozy.
It is, and a huge thank you to everyone, as Thommo said, for all of the messages that do get sent in. We are trying to get to every single one, and hopefully this will help us move on with those. If we don't, then we hope that you have found a similar question that we have managed to squeeze in, because we have sometimes tried to do that on here. But this last 3 weeks, it is about a little bit of making sure that all your ducks are in a row. The training is all done. It's about the last minute preparations, isn't it, Thommo? The hotel bookings, trains, if you're driving in, where you're going to park, how you're going to get to the expo and pick up your number. And don't forget, you can also find us at the expo. So if you're around on the Friday, I would highly recommend going, about 10:30 to get your number, Thommo, so that you can see us on the stage at 11:15 or vice versa.
We don't want everyone coming on the stage, otherwise there'll be no room for anyone. But no, absolutely, yeah. But this is what I think is brilliant. Like, there's a lot to be had. It's not just the day. There's the expo. There's the buzz of London. There's the buzz of everything. So
and there's our shakeout.
Careful, and our shakeout. Which day is that again?
Yeah, Saturday. I hope you'll be there. We're going to
time?
make sure that Thommo sets lots of alarms to be there. 8:30, Hyde Park Corner, we were saying, weren't we? Because we'll be recording a podcast at the Apple Store afterwards. And so, we'll just be joining there for an easy shakeout the day before. You are listening to Paula's Run Club, brought to you by Hyco, the hydration company that has your hydration covered. And now it is time to catch up with Emma Cook, editor of the BBC production across the London Marathon. It is a huge machine. Emma worked on the team up to 2017 and was in charge for the first time last year, taking over from Ali Mack. We miss you very much, Ali. And it was a pleasure to catch up with Emma so she could really explain all of the hard work that goes into it, because Thommo, I know everyone out there is running a marathon, and people at home sometimes feel like they're running a marathon, trying to catch a glimpse of their loved ones out there running. But the people that work on our team, bringing that coverage together across, I think she says 8 or 9 hours, listen out for that one. But the work going into it over the week is almost like an ultra marathon. So we welcome Emma Cook to give us an insight into what goes on the build up to marathon and marathon day itself. Welcome to Paula's Run Club. Emma Cook, who is editor of the BBC production on Marathon Day, really just to share with us, everyone listening, Emma is getting ready to take on the London Marathon and to run their vet. And we just thought we'd show them a little bit of what it's like behind the scenes in terms of bringing that to life. Everyone's family are either on the street or they're watching on the BBC coverage, trying to pick out the runners as they're going around. And I know it is a big marathon effort from the whole team, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really weird, Paula, you interviewing me, because normally I'm in your ear telling you what's like. It's all very strange. I like to say that, actually, I take my hat off to everybody who has just spent a really long winter going through their marathon training, and about now will be starting some of their big runs, because it is...
Well, hopefully they've done a few by now.
Yeah, I've probably done a few by now, but it is such a huge feat to take on the marathon. And But then I often say, like, making the program is almost like we're running our own marathon, right? Because it takes just as long for us to get our ducks in order, to get everything sorted, because it is such a huge production, as you said. And, you know, we start our planning back end of last year, kind of October, November time. Start pulling all our plans together. We always we have a very close relationship with London Marathon. They're such a brilliant organisation to work with. But every time you go into that first meeting, there's always something with that lot. So, you know, we've had people running it in space. We've had the Queen starting the London Marathon. This year we have Daddy Pig. So, you know, you start thinking of all these kind of
Daddy
crazy...
Pig actually running?
Daddy Pig is running the London Marathon, yeah. So, well, sort of. I mean, Daddy Pig's running the London Marathon in the cartoon, and there's a Daddy Pig lookalike. Should we say that?
That's what I was thinking. So it's obviously not going to be a cartoon running around.
I mean, to be fair, I've had a lot of conversations this year about real life Daddy Pig or cartoon Daddy Pig. So that's one of the jobs. So, you know, the thing about covering a marathon is, you know, and I'm sure again, it's really long, isn't it? So, you know, running it is really, really long. So how do we film it? And, you know, we have OBs in different places. We have 42 cameras across London, helicopter. We have electric bikes with cameras, so it's really pulling that all together. So from a technical point of view, it takes pretty much as long to plan the London Marathon as I think it does to train for it. And, you know, what with a month to go, everything's just coming together our end as well for what we hope is going to be another really, really brilliant day.
And you have to be across a lot of different things, don't you? Like, I mean,
you work with me, Paula. You know that I'm like 100 miles an hour because I'm across a million different things.
Yeah, but I mean, because we're not just talking about covering the elite races, we're talking about covering the stories and the charities within that. And how do you manage to kind of know those big stories? Because we spend the 4, 5, 6 hours that we're on air, and I think we do a great job of trying to bring it all in, but there is so much to get in. How do you manage to pick out those charity stories, those lifestyle stories? Yeah,
it's a really good question. And do you know what always really annoys me is every single year in the marathon, I think we've done a great job. And I always, every marathon, will be my 10th, I take 20 minutes at the end of the programme and I go and stand on that corner just by the Queen Victoria statue. And I do my bit for cheering everybody on because, you know, for all your listeners who are taking part in the London Marathon, there is nothing more special than the finish line of a marathon. There's nothing more kind of medically gross as well, but there is nothing more special to see people really achieve something. And I always love the people when they come around that corner by the statue, because you can tell they think they're nearly there and they've still got like a couple of 100 meters to go. And they start kind of and I always think it's really funny. But I always go out just to remind myself of the marathon, about that, you know, we watch the elites, we watch the great runners, and there are so many people there with so many different reasons to run. Same with our preview program, My Reason to Run. And I just love watching people achieve something they've worked so hard for. So I always go out and shout. But what always annoys me is I go out and I see, and one year a man ran past me playing a trombone, and I was like, why don't I know about that? And it always annoys me because I'll see people and I'll think, you've got a great story and we haven't told your story. But the reality is last year, 59,000 people ran the London Marathon. And we can't tell all their stories. So I think what we have to do, and what I do, is you have to take a bit of a step back. And for us, it's about balance. Like, we want to try and mention as many different charities as possible. We want to try and mention as many different parts of the country as possible. The marathon's not just for London. People run it from all over the UK. They run it from all over the world, to be honest. We want to make sure we're telling stories that are sad but uplifting. We want to make sure we're telling stories that are really inspirational and that people at home can absolutely take away. I think I'm probably the first London Marathon editor to ever cry on air. I did that last year. They still get me, and I'd seen them 5 or 6 times. And, you know, we really want people to watch the London Marathon and be inspired. It is inspiring, and to feel moved by what they're seeing, and also to see the sacrifice that, you know, whether you are, I don't know, one of the Patrick Deaver who's going for a British record at the top of the field, or a great club runner who's trying to set a time, or someone who's running in honour of someone or to raise money. Everyone has all these different reasons to run. And, you know, and it is inspirational. Like, it really, really is. And you know how I know that? Because, as Paula knows, because I bang on about it all the time. One of my other jobs is I look after Couch to 5K. And the day after the marathon, every single year, Couch to 5K is 10 years this year, every single year for the last 10 years, the day after the marathon has the biggest amount of Couch to 5K downloads by a country mile. So it's always between 11 and 12 o'clock. So it's almost like people have got to a lunch hour and are like, I watched the marathon, I could do that. And they download Couch to 5K, and they may never run before, but more people download Couch to 5K the day after the London Marathon than any other day in the calendar, which makes me feel like we're doing something right with our coverage, right? Because it is inspiring people to get moving, to get out the door, to have a go themselves maybe, but also just to be part of it on the day. That's how we pick the stories.
And let's talk a little bit about the logistics on the day. So you mentioned there are, I mean, as briefly as we can, you mentioned there's 42 cameras out there. How many bikes have we got?
We have 6. And one of the real joys / really difficult things about the London Marathon is, and I was talking about the stories, is, you know, we're on air from Happy State in the morning on BBC One until 3 o'clock. We obviously have different feeds as well. So Thommo will be up doing the world feed for us, and that's available on iPlayer, and you can watch any variety of different cameras.
If you get bored of Paula, just come on over.
Whoa. You know, just check. Maybe double screen, Thommo. Maybe you could just double screen, like watch one on your phone, the other on BBC One. But, you know, we offer all these different options and Tower Bridge. So it is a really, really, really complicated day, and it is a long day. So how we work it is we have 4 OBs. So we have quite a big presence at the start, and a separate team look after that. And then obviously the elite races go. So at that point we have 6 bikes and they kick in. And like I said, the joy of the London Marathon is at one point you do have 4 elite races on the field at the same time. So we are sitting in the truck making the decisions about, right, go, you know, get to the lead pack in the men's, right, actually, no, the wheelchairs are coming over Tower Bridge, right, we need to go there, whatever it is. And that is what Paula and Crammy and Andrew Cotter and Tanny can hear in their ears, which is myself and Matt Griffiths making those decisions. And again, Paula and you know, you guys will obviously chip in and help us out as well about where we should
because
go.
if we see something during the race, we can go back to Emma and say, Emma, could you go and have a look what's happening in 4th and 5th place, because we think something's happened there. And the great thing is that obviously the wheelchairs go faster. So there's 2 bikes gone with the wheelchairs to begin with, but they can circle back then, can't they? So you do kind of get an extra bike added into the elite races. Yeah,
and by the time you get to the men's race, actually, at that point, you know, you can see multiple packs. But, you know, we are covering those elite races with 6 bike cameras, some fixed cameras around the course, and obviously our helicopter as well, which is helping us out to be able to kind of give some geography of where we are. So we have an OB at the start, multiple cameras. Then we have smaller OBs at Cutty Sark, at Tower Bridge, and at mile 21, which we call Rainbow Row. So there are other cameras there. And obviously, actually, the main part of our coverage, which always confuses me, is that we're at the finish. So that is where the commentators are. That is where all our trucks are. That is, you know, right in the grounds of Buckingham Palace. Just as you guys come around, you can see our trucks. And it always confuses me that we're not at the start, because it's the start. But I guess that's 26 miles away. So we're all at the finish. And that is where the majority of our technical work happens. But honestly, you know, I was saying, everyone's training for London Marathon. It takes us just as long to plan it and put it all on air. We're on air actually for on air for 8.5 hours on the day. I think 12 hours in total. So longer than most people will take to run the marathon. Just like to say that as well. But I think one of the really big challenges is not just all the technology that we need to be able to successfully do it, but London's a really busy city. Like, we're not able to put our OBs in until the Saturday afternoon. So, you know, it's a really, really quick turnaround for us to get everything in, talking to each other, cabled, working, all of our feeds working, all of our cameras in, to rehearse to get on air at 8:30 on a Sunday morning. And I've got to say, our technical teams, Paula knows I'm not very technical, but they do an unbelievable job, an absolutely unbelievable job.
And I guess the clean-up has to be just as quick, because the city needs to get back at it 9 a.m. Monday.
Honestly, I mean, it's almost as soon as we're off air, people are pulling cables out of things because they've got to get the trucks out because the road needs to reopen, you know? It is an incredible piece of work that goes on behind the scenes to get the marathon to air.
And do you have to have contingency plans? Because I'm thinking about the helicopter. So if the helicopter can't fly, that's obviously... I mean, I remember in 2015 when I ran it, Thommo, they told me that the helicopter only had enough fuel to stay in the air for 2 hours 30. So when I'm running down the embankment slower than 2 hours 30, one of the thoughts in my head is because of the helicopter, I can still see the helicopter up in the sky. So it's going to crash because of me, because I haven't run fast enough. They refueled it mid-race. They refueled it, so that it does only have that much fuel.
You refuel the helicopter, so that's fine. That was never going to happen.
It might have been Crammy who did that to get me to run fast.
I feel like that was Crammy who said that.
That's quite a mean thing to say.
It's quite a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, if the helicopter can't fly, presumably you just have to rely on static.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
the weather can be so bad, can't
it's
it?
really I mean, funnily enough, we've got very, very lucky the last few years, and actually the weather's almost been too good for a marathon, but beautiful. And I've got to say, one of the brilliant things is, we're sitting in the truck from 6:30 on marathon morning, and the helicopter comes up and it flies from out of London and comes all the way across the city. Sometimes it comes from Wembley way, sometimes it comes from Twickenham way, the north or south, and you just get this beautiful shot of the whole city waking up. There's always fog, isn't there? And it's just, I mean, those shots are fantastic. And we use some of them usually at the top of the programme, but it's a really special moment when the helicopter comes online and you can just see London spread out before you. And then it makes its way to Blackheath and suddenly tens of thousands of people appear, kind of just getting ready to go. But yeah, I mean, we do have contingency plans, and funnily enough, there's not a lot you can do if the helicopter can't fly, right? If a helicopter can't fly, then drones can't fly either. And we have moved a lot into drone technology over the last couple of years. We'll have 3 drones actually this time working on the London Marathon. But one of the things that's always been really hard is our bikes and how the signal gets back. And obviously, as soon as Canary Wharf, I mean, I think it probably 46 years ago, it's much easier because there weren't quite so many high-rise buildings in Canary Wharf as there now are. And so you'll have noticed actually that we do have some issues around getting that signal back because it bounces off the high buildings. So actually we've moved to a new system. So our bikes are now electric. So there's a sustainability piece of work, but we're also now using much more kind of cellular technology. So essentially mobile phone technology to help secure our pictures and just to make sure that particularly, when they are in that high rise bit of cutty, around kind of Canary Wharf, those pictures can come back. I've got to say there is the tunnel at Blackfriars, when you come into that tunnel.
Yeah.
46 years later, I still don't think we've worked out a way to properly get the pictures out of that tunnel because it is so long. So people, and you'll know, Paula, you get halfway through it.
It's very eerie when you're running it because you go from a wall of noise into silence, apart from the runners around you. I don't know how actually long it is, but that has always been a massive challenge, is no matter what technology you use, getting really stable pictures from that blooming tunnel. I mean, I think just to underline again the dreams of where it can go in the future and the inspiring nature for kids everywhere and people everywhere in terms of getting into running.
Do you know what? Absolutely, Paula. And funnily enough, the last couple of years, I don't just stand and cheer now on marathon day. I go and watch the mini marathon as well for 20 minutes. And I don't know. I was
going to mention that, yeah.
Oh my! I mean, you talk about where
that's
it could
grown.
go. Well, I mean, that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they've got 19,000 young people this year, and it's not. And I'm betting myself 20 quid that both of you probably won the mini marathon. Did you win?
I wasn't allowed to do it. It was only London schools when I was a kid.
Same for me.
Well,
I was just down there watching. But
I'm sure you would have won it.
Huge.
Let's be honest, you both would have won it, right? So
I definitely would have won it, yeah.
I don't know, because I think there is that progression coming through, isn't there? There's like
I'd have definitely won it.
Yeah.
No, I'd have definitely
of course you would.
But you would have been, one of a couple of hundred kids, like really good runners. Now you go, there are 19,000 of them.
Yeah.
Doing
From all over.
Like much shorter durations, but oh my goodness, there is absolutely my favourite bit is actually, I've got to say, it's not just the kids, it's all the teachers who've gone off a bit hard and forget how quite long, like 3K is for them, and are like really paying the price. And all the kids who are loving it, and then again realise quite how far that bit down the mall is at the end. But that is what a day that is, and just seeing the kids. We've got a shakeout Friday night. The marathon's going to be a week by the end of it. We have the Friday night event now, which is really targeting a different group of people, and you have the marathon on Sunday. So I just think it is just the most uplifting weekend. It really is. And you know what? It's really stressful, I've got to say.
It's quite stressful if you're running it, but thank you. No, thank you so much for sharing that enthusiasm and just that inspirational look at kind of how it all comes to life for family and friends watching, because everybody is in that hard slog of their training at the moment, and that is the carrot that they're kind of getting ready for, is the party on race day when you get out there and get to run around it. So thank you for giving us that insight into the behind the scenes there, and good luck in your marathon on marathon day.
Thank you.
And that interview with Emma was brought to you by Hyco, the hydration company that has your hydration covered. And I mean, I know what goes on, Thommo, and you have had a glimpse of it from the other end, should we say, from the broom cupboard in Salford, which is a little bit of a closed off area, but you always are around in that build up at the hotel, and will be more so around this year. But it is a huge machine, isn't it? I mean, the amount of things going on to bring it to life so that people can try and get a glimpse of, well, watch the elite races, but also get a glimpse of their loved ones out there, and also so that we can tell all the stories, because as Emma said, there are so many amazing stories. I mean, I think my big pickup was, go on.
No, I was going to say, because I my first exposure to media outside running was doing the radio for London, and I was in London for that, and I was blown away by the trucks and the ants like buzzing around, or flies buzzing around, trying to bring this to life. It really does feel like the silent 27th mile of a marathon. That team of people that you kind of don't see, but make everything sort of smooth and brings to life. Like two things I noticed that was from the interview was how much it inspires people to run that are at home watching, because of the down low, she said, with that couch to 5k the next day. And the other thing that, and I think it's a testament to them, they're clearly so passionate about it, and the fact she actually tries to be in with goes out onto the course to kind of feel the passion, and she wants to tell every story, the frustration to not do more. But when you're that passionate, it's the law of attraction. It feeds into the people listening and the enjoyment. And I think that whole production and that whole event is just a testament to the passion, and people are inspired for a reason. They're inspired because the people delivering it feel the passion, and you feel that passion with them. And she oozes it. What a lovely... She
does. I mean, much like it's a marathon family, and it is a marathon family out there.
Yeah.
We're a BBC family kind of as well, and you know everybody. I remember in 2015 when I actually had to ask permission from the BBC, from Ali Mack at the time, say, can I not please work on the broadcast because I want to run it one last time?
Yeah.
And they told me, he said to me before, I think actually might have been Crammy responsible for this, and that's when Emma said, didn't she? Because she doesn't remember them telling me that. But I was clearly told that helicopter had to stay, had enough fuel to stay in the air to 2 hours 30. So when I know I'm on 2:36 pace and I'm coming down the embankment and I can still see the helicopter up above, I was thinking, oh my God, this is dangerous because of me, because I run too slowly. And then afterwards they told me they just refueled it in the middle, so they downed it, refueled it, and sent it back up again.
I mean, that would be quite the headline, Paula Downs helicopter. I mean,
but the other story that I remembered was, so when I was setting the record in 2003, so she talked about the camera bikes. So that year on the back of the camera bike, and actually I think in 2002 as well, was Peter Elliott. So he was sat on the back and he was giving the updates back to Crammy and Brendan, who were in the comms position on the Mall. And I remember him pulling back alongside me, because obviously the lead vehicle's gone ahead and Gary's on the lead vehicle. He pulled back alongside me and he shouted, Gary said, if you pick it up a little bit, you can run under 2:16. Because obviously we'd been training and Gary kept saying, I think you can break 2:16. I think you can break 2:16. And he'd been looking at the splits and things. And I just remember thinking, basically something rude. I'm going absolutely as hard as I can. And if you think I can pick it up anymore, this is just survival at this point. But at the same time, it was a boost to know that I hadn't messed up my calculations in my head and that I was kind of on pace to hit that barrier. But yeah, it's kind of a family of encouragement out there.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that family passion being brought into the BBC commentary team post athletic career, and just it was like an easy transition for me, because I felt it's that marathon buzz and feel, and everything I've been as an athlete, putting it into those efforts with watching others and being inspired by others has been just a lovely thing. And off the back of that, I think it's about time we go to the 4 callers coming in to hear their stories, hear their questions, and just feel their passion and nerves as well, and excitement for what's about to come.
And hopefully reassure with the answers to some of their questions, or try to anyway.
Exactly. I think first up we have James.
Yeah, hi. We are running, or my 2 sons are running their first London with me. So I first ran in 2010, then 2014 and 17. And we're running for a particular special charity this year, which is a charity called Action Medical Research. And they are a baby charity that was founded by a father about 70 years ago. and they found the first polio vaccination about 10 years later because his daughter had polio. So it's an amazing charity. I ran for them in 2010 after my son sadly passed away in 2006. He was with us, Harry was with us about 6 weeks. He had some really difficult complications, and I wanted to run in his memory. And this or last year, turning 50, my two boys sort of said, "Come on, Dad, you need to sort yourself out. Why don't we run London together?" And I'm like, this isn't 10k. You have to respect the distance. This is a long way. So we had a bit of a deal that if they ran the Bournemouth half with me in October and they got through it okay, then I'd get them a place running with Action. We're 20 miles at the moment, so we've done two 20-mile runs. We're sort of on the programme. But I guess my question is, having been into some dark places in particularly 2014 and 2017, 2017 was really hot, if you remember. Around sort of 21, 22 miles. Have you got any great sort of techniques, tips for kind of the mind of taking you to a place to get you through those last 3 or 4? Because I've been there and I know how hard it is, and I'm looking at them and they're like, "It'll be fine, it's not a problem." But if there's anything that you can help us with, that would be great.
Well, I mean, I think personally, your reason for running is the thing that I would go to. Like you said, you've been there before and you've come through it in those previous marathons. So you did get through it somehow. And I think the first step is accepting that those difficult spots are going to come. The second one is having your go-to, to be able to go to. So whether it's thinking about Harry, whether it's thinking about those ones where you got through, or whether it's as simple as the one that I use, which is counting. You can sing, you can repeat a mantra, whatever you do on those long runs to really focus on one foot in front of the other and not worrying about how far you've got to go or how bad you're feeling at that time or why Matt is going way ahead of you. It's really just focusing on, I'm putting one foot in front of the other and I'm going to get through this and this will get me through it. And I don't know, do you have something that you use, Matt?
No, I would just put both headphones in and kind of just focus on just one step in front of the other, getting it
So
done.
you have music to help you.
Dad said not to do it for like the first sort of 10, 15, but after that you probably might need it. So
It's good advice. I think
It's
what's
almost
really
like
lovely
Dad's been there and done it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. What I really love as well, you've both got a kind of the unique mindset of that you can support each other, of that kind of precociousness of the youth, of let's just do it, with the wise let's respect this, sort of been there, done it. And I think what's really lovely with that balance is that you can feed off each other. That you can both go, right, you need to respect this, but also, Dad, don't worry about it. And I think my coach always says, and I always talk about that middle ground is the beautiful spot to be in. So play off each other in that respect, because you both have very useful assets to bring to the table of coping. And so when one's feeling a bit like I'm over-analysing and one's feeling a bit too unrespectful, you can both bring each other back into the middle to find that middle ground. And I think that's a perfect balance, sharing that. Because I think training partners or racing partners or anything, that's what you're there for, to kind of check each other and balance each other during the training. The only bit I'm worried about, as you said before we came on, that there might be a bit of separation towards the end. So you might have to come up with a bit of a deal there of how the last 3-4 miles pan out. But I think in all of this, and I think Steve Peters kind of talked about this a bit, is sometimes when we think about the tough parts, we just have to remind ourselves, when we're faced with a challenge, we're adults, we are capable of handling when those tough moments happen. However that's going to happen, we don't worry about, we just know we can when they come about. So I would check and balance each other, and I would back yourselves that you can. That would be my advice.
My oldest son George is also running with us. He's 24 and he's up in Manchester running the long runs on his own. So that's really tough. And I think he's managed to develop that resilience. And equally with him, I think he learnt once on a 15-mile run after he'd been out the night before on the beers that running on a hangover is not a great idea.
It's kind of carb loading, but with a twist there, Matt.
Exactly.
Do you mind just asking how old you are, Matt?
I'm 18.
18. So you're just into that youngest of the groups.
So you could be one of the youngest on the start line then.
Yeah. So I turned 18 in July. So.
Right. Oh yeah. No, you won't be.
But no, it will be. It'll be one of the few. It'll be
Yeah,
one
but
of the
there will
handful
be
of
people who
18-year-olds.
have literally just turned 18 on the day,
wow.
and kind of a week later that is the youngest tranche.
Yeah.
But you're still very young, and what's great is the number of youngsters coming in, and I think Tomo's totally right. You will balance each other. So James kind of lean into Dad's experience over that, certainly over the first half, the first 10 miles or so. Let him set the pace, and then that's when you'll come through. It's all about patience in that first half of the marathon, and let's hope you don't have too many of those rough spots then. So yeah, that's right. Earphones can probably go in when you start hitting those rough patches in the second half. But you might also want to just take in the atmosphere around you, because it is a very, very special experience, as I'm sure Dad's told you. And has George run one before as well, or is
No,
it
so
his
this will be
first one?
George's first. I've sort of talked to them about running over Tower Bridge. The first time I did it, I took my headphones out and having so many people just shout. It seems to be the one day of the year that people in London are nice to each other. It's amazing. Yeah, and it's
And
really
next year
fun.
there'll be 2 days.
Yes,
Hopefully.
exactly. Can I just very quickly ask you one other question while I've got you? Last week, after 20 miles, my foot started to hurt, and it then turned into my foot really, really hurts. The physio said I've got something called plantar fasciitis.
Okay.
So I've not done much this week at all. I'm strapped up. I've done a little bit of cross training. I'm slightly worried about next week because that should be the longest. I'm thinking sort of 21, maybe 22. And I'm starting to wonder, and Tom, I heard you sort of talk about this before, but do I ease off or do I suck it up and get on with it?
No, you ease off now. Absolutely. Yes, Tomo?
Yeah. I think this is where what we talk about, that at this point we don't want to hinge our whole race day on that one day. I know we talk about building up to it, but the actual reason it's that day, that big training day is successful, is because of the block of work leading up to it. That's the bigger bang for your buck, is the process to get to that. To the icing and the cake of kind of doing it is not the be all and end all. We don't want to hang a hat on it. So I think be smart. I would say personally that because I know the precociousness of athletes, that they want to do something, and I would back off, but I would kind of almost use you be honest with yourself. If you start the run and it starts to get too much, you stop. Don't set your heart on doing the 2021. Take it as far as it can so that it can still recover, because when it comes to race day, we will just do what you have to do.
I mean, I would almost go even further and say don't even start it if you feel in pain walking around. That run is not a necessary run. It's the block of work that you've done up to that. What is necessary is getting your foot okay. Get some arch supports, and so to take the strain off the plantar, and even walking around the house, have those in. Have a clean pair of shoes inside the house. Just keep those in the whole time. Rolling your foot on a foot roller, or even like a glass bottle, is really good. A golf ball for kind of loosening that out. I don't know if you can get access to a physio, but shockwave therapy is very effective. Very painful, but very effective for plantar fasciitis.
Okay, that's great. I've got a physio and he's really good, and I've ordered the insoles that he's told me, so they arrived today.
Brilliant. Excellent.
You just get a bit nervous. You think, can I just get one more and feel confident? Maybe not.
No, just be confident that your foot is all right come race day, and in all the build up that you've done to now. And if you can get it done, great. That's a bonus, but it's not necessary.
Thank you.
No, yeah. And good luck, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enjoy. Please let us know how it goes.
And give me a wave as you come past me on the mall. Matt will do that, and then he'll sprint off and leave you waiting at me.
I'll kill him. We've raised nearly £7,500 between the two of us for charity, which is fantastic.
So just give us once again the name of the charity.
Yeah, it's Action Medical Research.
Brilliant.
Nice. Have a great time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And now it is time to welcome Lynsey. And Lynsey, London's going to be your 4th marathon and your 2nd London. You made your London debut last year in that phenomenal heat, so did extremely well to get through that. Do you want to ask us your question?
Yeah, so obviously I'm running London again this year, which I got into via Good for Age. So, I feel very privileged to be able to do that. My question is, I've also got London Landmarks half marathon on the 12th of April, which I got in via the ballot, which I know is difficult to get into, so obviously I definitely would like to do that. It's 2 weeks out from London. My question is, how do I approach this? As it's 2 weeks before London, do I race it and try and get close to my half marathon PB, which is 1:40, which I got earlier this year? Or do I run it more at marathon pace, which would be about 8-minute miles, as I'm hoping to get 3:30 in London this year? I know there isn't a massive difference in the minute per mile pace, but I keep going backwards and forwards as to which way is the best way to approach it.
Can I ask a question back? What does your heart want to do?
When I first found out I got in, and I thought, right, I just want to race it and do the best I can. But now it's getting closer, and the nerves are starting to kick in for both races. I have a fear that if I try and race it and it all goes horribly wrong, that's going to knock my confidence for London. So do I use it as an 8-minute mile, which should, for the half marathon, feel nice and comfortable, and use it as a confidence boost? And I guess there's a lot of uncontrollables on the day. It could be a boiling hot day again, like London was last year. I
think you've already taken a number of steps. I mean, the one thing I was going to mention was Steve Peters saying, what are the outcomes that you fear, and can you handle those? So you've just named one of them.
Yeah.
So if you went out and you finished it in 1:41, but you felt really, really easy, would you be frustrated with that?
No.
There you go. So your main target is London. So actually what I would recommend is you set out on your pace for London.
Yep.
But then once you get to 6-7 miles, put what you've got left into it.
Yeah.
And see where you can take it from there. So you're going on that pace and you get to the halfway point and just pick it up from there, because that bit of picking it up, I think, will be good enough to give you a confidence boost. It might not be as fast a time as you're capable of doing, but you know that because you set out practicing the pace. And what that also is doing is keying your brain into recognizing that pace on race day in London, when all the nerves are there, all the excitement's there, and we don't want you to get carried away in the first half and go too quickly. So it's getting you into that pace. And then from there, I think you'll push on, and I think you'll still finish very, very strongly. And what you want to do is finish with a big smile on your face, knowing, I can do this in London. That's really given me the confidence to go and do that. How does that sound?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely.
I will say this as well. I think sometimes that we can, because you mentioned that you're very proud of having the good for age, making that doesn't go. No matter what happens on one day of training or one race day, you clearly have a very exceptional ability with your running, and that doesn't end overnight. The number of times when I was a kid, if I got a pound for every time I had a bad race when I was a junior, and Paula and others would say, it doesn't, I think Gary, your husband, Paula, said it to me all the time, it doesn't make you a bad athlete. That one day doesn't define you. It's how we react. And I think that's where exactly, I completely agree with Paula, that whatever makes you feel the most comfortable and you are happy with the outcomes that Steve Peters talks about, and Paula's mentioned, when you go the what ifs, if I felt like this, and you're comfortable with all those questions being answered before you start, that day is going to be a success no matter what, because it doesn't change how good you are and the fact you can do these incredible performances in the marathon. And I have to say, like, achieving good for age in this day and age is tough. Like, the times are getting harder and harder. So, and I'm kind of looking at it myself going, I need to really keep myself fit because I want to be able to do that myself. So I don't know if that adds to it as well, but like, I just want to emphasise that you clearly a really capable runner, and that doesn't change whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's a good timing for a half run 2 weeks before.
2 weeks, yeah.
It's a good timing to recover from. It's not like you need to stress and really go overboard on the recovery techniques. I mean, obviously make sure that you practice your fueling in the marathon would be good if you can do that in the half. It's a great way to practice everything actually for marathon day: kit, shoes, exactly as it's going to be, marathon breakfast, and then get out there, have fun with it, and just get the fueling in straight afterwards, and hopefully a big confidence boost going into the rest of the taper. Go back now and read through your training diary and see all the great training that you've put in, and then go into that race and have fun, and let us know how that half goes, please, and let us know after London, and give me a wave as you come past me on the mile.
I will. I'll be very hopefully smiling.
Yeah.
Paula's going to get all these waves.
I know I'm going to get a lot of waves. I won't recognise people unless you've got Lynsey. Have Lynsey on your chest. That would be really good.
I'm going to miss out being in Manchester. Like I feel like I've dipped out having to be up there.
You have to just get on the train quick and come down, Thommo. Yeah, have a really good one.
Thank you ever so much, both of you.
And now it's time to catch up with Catherine, who has run London 3 times, plus a Paris and Amsterdam, I think it was, wasn't it, Catherine?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And a virtual. So do you have a question for us, Catherine?
Yes, hi there. Thanks for having me on. Yes, I got a place in London in the ballot this year, but I've had some quite significant injury issues and I'm probably going to have to drop out. I've been struggling with lower back pain on my left side, which radiates down my leg. And I've probably had that or similar issues for 2 to 3 years and had regular breaks from running because of it. So the spot of the pain varies, but it's much worse at night and disrupts my sleep. I'm pretty much limping all the time now and my leg feels unstable when weight bearing. So, for example, going upstairs. So I suppose my question is, how do you deal with the disappointment and the feeling of failure that comes with maybe not being able to do something that you've spent so long preparing for and has occupied your mind really for months?
Oh, I mean, it's really tough and really feel for you, Catherine, and hope that you get this resolved, because I think the first step is accepting that it is unfair and that it does feel, it's almost like a grieving process because you've put a lot of energy into getting ready for this marathon. As you said, you've taken on a coach, you've done all the extra strength and conditioning work. So it's not fair, really. You went through the other ones without all of that and you didn't have these issues. So I think recognizing that it is unfair and then trying to draw the lessons from it that you can to build on it and to come back next time. So I hope it's possible that you can defer your place. I think when you've got in through the ballot, you can defer to next year. So I would really look into that and then focus on that. Focus on then getting to the root cause of what's causing the issues. Have you seen an osteopath or a chiropractor?
No, I've seen various physios and my sports massage person. But I think I've had x-rays, so I do have a bit of osteoporosis on my left hip, but it's definitely not that. It's definitely something else. I feel like I've maybe got a nerve trapped to my back or something. So I think it's probably more than one issue. So I really need to, I think, get an MRI.
Yeah. And just get them to look at that. I mean, it does sound like you're saying, it sounds like something neural coming down the spine, perhaps through the sacroiliac joint, and through that sacral nerve. That can cause a lot of issues down one leg. And so it is worth getting that looked at. So all of the energy that you would be putting into that marathon, I think first it's okay to get really upset, get really angry at times, or get really sad at times. Let those emotions out, but channel them as well into getting yourself better. So ask those questions, find out what led to this, and then hopefully that is something that can be avoided next time around. Other issues might come up, but this is one that we'll learn from and move on from. I think that will help psychologically, and maybe go away somewhere marathon day. I know I should be saying watch the race, get into the coverage, and you might have friends and family running that you want to go along and support. That's good. But if equally you want to be nowhere near it because you're really frustrated and upset that you can't be a part of it, then just go away somewhere and don't look at it.
A couple of things I was going to add is I'd really ask your physio on your medical team to look at your alignment through your hips is the best way to describe it, because it can be, as Paula mentioned, an SI, which is like kind of where your sacrum and your hip kind of that kind of joint, if that's even slightly out, it can really feel excruciating. So there's having a look at your alignment and how that might be playing into the bigger picture of how this pain, because when you get pain referring all the way down the leg, it still can be very localized, even if it feels like quite kind of going through the body quite large. So alignment would be my key takeaway to look at. The other thing, because your question was about handling this, you used the word failure, and I think it's not failure. I think that's my thing in this. This is not a failure that you can't run. And I think, as Paula mentioned, allow yourself to be emotional, allow yourself to kind of react. That's important because it's a part of grieving. But then I would slowly piece together the realization of, actually, this is worth fighting for, and I can take a step back, fix the things that created this situation. And when I start putting those pieces that will hopefully fix it and give me the space to be able to go back to that passion, do it successfully, that kind of, you never know, that saying that I always live by, you never know what's around the corner, because this setback can end up being the making of you, of breaking times you want to run and achieving other things. And to get to that, you might have to go through this process to get that even bigger thing that you're even more passionate and happy about.
And it will feel so much sweeter in 2027, when you might have a choice of days as well, and you'll be standing on the start line and thinking, I came through this. I remember that devastation last year, but I'm stronger, I'm here, and I'm going to make the most of it.
You feel so much more empowered by overcoming things in running. If it's plain sailing, we take it for granted. But when things are a struggle, you just feel that. You feel like, I can take on the world because I've dealt with this and I've overcome it. You feel like bulletproof.
Very best of luck, Catherine. I'm so sorry that it isn't working out for you this year, but I know you will get healthy, and I look forward to hearing how you've overcome that and you're back on the start line next year. And now it is time to welcome Tara. And Tara, you've run London 3 times. This will be your 4th. Do you want to ask us your question?
My question actually relates to Boston, which I'm meant to be doing. Well, in fact, I am going to be doing 6 days before London.
Wow.
And I was feeling fine about it, or nervous about the uphill at 20 miles, which apparently is called Heartbreak Hill, which I was feeling nervous about. But then you reassured me that was all fine. And the thing that I really needed to focus on was running downhill, which then threw me into a quandary because living in London, I find myself running around flat as a pancake, Battersea Park quite a lot. So my question is, how do I run downhill? Do I change my stride? Do I do something with my arms? Because I'm now concerned about shredding my quads ahead of the uphill. So what is the downhill strategy?
I honestly think it's really to stay relaxed. And I'm sorry if I kind of scared you with that. What I was really trying to do was just say that heartbreak isn't that bad. So if you've run in Regent's Park up the gradual slope there, that's kind of all heartbreak is, with a whole lot of support along it. And I think because it's built up into something, a lot of the runners around you, you'll know it's coming, you'll anticipate it. It's more where it comes in the race that makes it hard. So they will be going through it with you, alongside you, and they will carry you through that. And I think that any little gradual hills that you've built into your training, you'll be fine. And equally for the downhills, it's nothing super steep. It's just that those downhills are kind of sustained. Pretty much, I think, through the first 9 miles or so, as I remember. And so it's more about being able to relax and run downhill. So I talked about that uphill in Regent's Park. If you can simulate that in your training, just running down it and concentrate on not braking with your quads, I think that'll help. Even in Hyde Park, the bit in the middle where the house is and you go down to the Serpentine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
That used to be in the 5K race that we would do in Hyde Park. It's quite a brutal downhill. And so you can find hills and just build them in. The key is not to worry about it and just not to get carried away with using the hill to run too quickly in those opening miles. Just maintain your pace, maintain your stride as normal. Don't kind of be sucked into, just let your body flow with the hill and let gravity help you.
Yeah, I think it's quite congested anyway, maybe those first few miles. So I think no one's going to be kind of sprinting up.
Exactly. I mean, the worst
the name of it, Heartbreak Hill, doesn't really kind of help the mental preparation.
But the worst downhill is actually right at the start, immediately. And so I think once you're through that, and you're right, that the people around you will really help to kind of hold you back through that bit. Once you're through that, it is all gradual. So it is just about kind of not going off too quickly, which you can't do because of the volume of people around you. So really don't worry about it. Practice where you can find a downhill, more practice tuning into feeling relaxed as you run downhill, because that is a skill, isn't it, Thommo? Just being able to relax and let your body. I mean, it's like the Great North. Have you ever run the Great North, Tara?
I have not, no.
The hill at the beginning is similar to that drop onto the seafront, but it is right at the beginning of Boston. Yeah. And you have run the Great North, haven't you, Thommo?
A couple of times, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that because the messaging is, I think that's where I think it's not to worry about this, but we often, it's just automatically assume downhill is easier on the body than uphill because logically you're working harder. It's just the mechanics with Boston. I haven't run Boston, but I understand the kind of mechanics of it, of braking or like putting your foot out to sort of stop you going downhill. That is a different type of fatigue to pushing up, and your body is just more familiar with going uphill as an exercise to the other way. So it's not about, it's just the fact it's more unfamiliar, but that doesn't mean that that it's going to cause too many problems. It's just being mindful of when you're going downhill that it's not about catching up time. It's about relaxing, and it's about respecting that as much as you do the uphill, because when we do these things, we just think uphill, okay, respect it. Downhill, we kind of your mind. So it's about shifting your mind, as everything, as Paula said, just to be as relaxed as you can. I will say this, and I like I say, Paula, you tell me if this is impractical in Boston, because like I say, I haven't done Boston, but quite often with downhill running, people will ever so slightly zigzag just to take the pressure off the front load. So if it is
it's a bit hard in that first bit. Don't do it in the first bit.
No, I know. But when I say zigzag, I don't mean like literally adding 2 miles to your race. I just mean subtle kind of small, just to offload the quads. Yeah, just a bit of kind of almost like you're on a disco. Just giving it some of this.
Mm-hmm. Let your body flow down the hill, I think, would be the biggest advice, rather than, as Thommo said, fighting it and trying to brake, because that is what puts the most stress on your quads.
Yeah.
And I would say, when things are getting tough in Boston, remember, relaxation in the body starts up here.
Yes.
Think relaxing.
In my disco, I'm gonna be zigzagging. It's all good.
There you go. What is going to be your disco tune, out of interest?
I mean, I'm so bored of my music playlist. It's quite extraordinary. Yesterday I discovered a 3-hour podcast, which was just brilliant. So I found out about the whole history of Nike trainers as I ran for 3 hours.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Wow.
Very cool. Listen, good luck.
Brilliant.
And
Okay,
like I say,
and please let us know how you get on in Boston, and we will see you in London.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Brilliant.
Very best of luck.
Take care.
Those were brilliant, Thommo. I love catching up with all of our listeners, and a huge thank you to everybody who does keep writing in. And it is a huge thank you to Wild Nutrition as well for sponsoring this week's episode. They are, of course, still offering Paula's Run Club listeners 50% off for 3 months.
Yeah. And since we've been talking to the audience and about endurance today, it's worth mentioning that when you're logging those marathon miles, cardiovascular health is absolutely non-negotiable.
Absolutely, and that is why I rely on Wild Nutrition's omega-3. A daily intake of 250 milligrams of EPA and DHA contributes to the normal function of the heart. It is the clean fuel that your body is looking for when you're pushing it to its limits.
Yeah, as we keep mentioning about these guys, what stands out about them is their ingredient integrity. It's sustainably sourced and leads the market for purity and freshness. Plus, it contains the optimal 2-to-1 ratio of EPA to DHA.
But as we all know, running isn't just physical, it is a mental marathon as well. And when you hit that wall psychologically on a long Sunday run, cognitive resilience is everything.
Yeah, spot on. The DHA in their oil contributes to the maintenance of normal brain function, helping support your mind through those long, challenging miles.
And Wild Nutrition are giving Paula's Run Club listeners an exclusive 50% off for 3 months and a free personal consultation with a nutritional therapist. Just go to wildnutrition.com/Paula to get started.
That's wildnutrition.com/Paula, so you can feel the difference yourself. Your 2026 Foundation for Wellness. Terms and conditions do apply. We are, of course, following 3 people on their build up to London: Sophie Rayworth, Harry Judd and Charlotte Davis. And next up is a catch up with Harry Judd to see how he's getting on with his training partner gap.
Hi Paula and Thommo, it's Harry here. So a quick update for you. Things are pretty much the same with my injury. I'm only managing to run twice a week, but I'll take that because I'm able to do the session and the long run. I've tried an easy a couple of times in between, and it's just crazy because after about 2.5k I've had to stop both times. It's too uncomfortable and too painful on the soleus. So very much still managing this injury and needing 2 or 3 days of no running to achieve that session and the long run. Doing all my easy work on the cross trainer and bike still. So that's the big thing for me, not having the mileage in my legs, not having the durability on the day. Well, I may have the durability. I'm just paranoid that I'm going to get to 35k and really struggle. So we will see. Obviously have to remain positive. This weekend's a big tester. I've got a 2.5 hour run, progressive, which finishes an hour to feel, as Thommo likes to give us. So that's no looking at the watch, running to feel. Very hard because, yeah, for many years as an inexperienced runner, I'm sure a lot of you will understand this listening. You know, we love to just look at our watch. How long have I got left? How fast am I running? So this running to feel is a new thing for me, but so far I've done it twice and it's gone pretty well. So tomorrow will be interesting, hopefully a confidence booster. So I'm currently sat in the car park about to go and do an hour on the cross trainer, so I better go. I hope you're both well. I think that's everything. I mean, obviously I could go on and bore you for hours about my soleus injury, and but I've got to try and resist the temptation of using it as an excuse. Anyway, I'll check in next week. Bye.
Hi, Paula, Chris, and all the listeners. Just thought I'd check in with a little update on how things are going. We're about 3.5 weeks away now from London. Been picking up the mileage a fair bit. Been hitting 100-kilometre weeks for the first time. So that's been good. Happy to build confidence through getting the kilometres done. We had probably our biggest run on Sunday, which was a pretty chunky one. Got 33 kilometres out with a bit of work in there as well. Neither myself nor Harry were feeling great, having had a bit of illness during the week. So it's hard when you want to be hitting all the metrics and getting the times that you set out to, but I guess you have to accept as well when your body isn't quite up to it. So given that, I was happy to get through it and then continue just getting the easy mileage done throughout the week. And yeah, I guess there's maybe 1 or 2 decent sized weekends left in terms of long runs, and then get down to the taper, which I'm looking forward to because it's been a lot of fun but a lot of hard work. And I kind of feel like it's when you see the bodybuilders who bulk up ahead of a show and they're doing all of the work underneath, and then they slim right down and you get the best version of them when they showcase themselves. And that's what I kind of feel like it is now, coming towards the end of the block, because a lot of the work that we do in our sessions, it's like, yeah, that was we weren't on fresh legs, or I'm not on fresh legs because of the amount of mileage I've been doing, and I'm looking forward to that not being the case, and actually being on fresh legs, and then hopefully all of the work that we've been putting in comes together on the day at the right time. So yeah, looking forward to getting the work done in these next sort of 1-2 weeks, and then tapering down, enjoying that part of the process as well, and then all eyes on marathon day, and hopefully at that point all of this work that has been put in will mean that we can just enjoy it when the day comes. So I'll keep you updated on how things go, and thanks so much for all the support.
Well, it's so good to hear that Harry is in a good place and looking forward, like we all are now. I'm getting excited already, and I'm not even running it this year, about the build up into London. But going back to those listener questions, Thommo, one of your biggest challenges, has to be said, is the 1 minute challenge. So I'm going to make it even harder for you.
Good line. I like it. Yeah.
Because I'm going to you talked about how the fact that difficulties that you'd overcome and challenges and setbacks that you had overcome in the past had made you feel a lot taller when you stand on that start line. You finally do come back from them. So I'm going to ask you, what was your biggest challenge that you have bounced successfully back from in 1 minute?
Yeah, and I truly mean it. I think we all find there's moments in our careers in running or in life where you feel like, how am I going to get out of this? And when I had my operation in 2014, I had the language that was used by the surgeon and doctors of, you're not going to run again, let alone run a marathon. And that's quite emotionally difficult to handle, especially when I just run London. I just finished 10th in London Marathon, or 11th, run 2:11, massive debut. I thought I had a whole career ahead of me on the roads after moving from the track. And it's just the rug's pulled from under you of, I might not run again. This Achilles operation is just going to be... His words were, no one's tried to run a marathon off the back of this type of operation. I've only got a minute, so I won't go into it. And the journey that followed, the emotional kind of dealing with it, it took me 5-6 years to get pain-free. And it's a whole kind of episode. But once you come out the other end, you do feel that much taller, that you can take on the world. And it was my biggest life lesson when it comes to running, was that whole process. But it really tests you daily. But yeah, it's about 1 minute and 10 seconds. But
a minute and 10, it was really good.
I will say, just to conclude, I get goosebumps thinking about the place I was in and where I am now. To think of how far I've come personally, to be able to run, to be able to do what I did, to still go to the Olympics post, and to hear the kind of language that was used, rightly so at the time. I can't emphasize how empowering that is, to feel I overcame that.
And I do think, I mean, obviously we really want every Paula's Run Club listener to get out there and smash it on marathon day, but fully recognise that there will be several who aren't able to do that because of the injury risks. And it is part of what makes the marathon sweeter when you cross that finish line in the next one. But it is one of the hardest things to deal with, genuinely. So yeah, really feel for everybody out there where it hasn't gone to plan, but just keep believing it is going to go to plan in the future at some point. And it did for you, Thommo, in Kew.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that went through your mind as you were crossing that, running up that final straight in Kew, is all of those setbacks along the way.
Yeah, you're going to set me off. I don't want to get too.
No, but I'm just taking. I mean, we are going to go into the training corner now, but I'm just kind of taking that moment just to say and acknowledge that there will be people listening that it hasn't worked out for this year, and you are as much part of the marathon family as those that are going to absolutely smash it. There will be people it doesn't go according to plan on race day as well. There will be disappointments in there, but all of those do feed in to the genuine experience of the marathon making you a stronger person.
Our greatest struggles are the things that kind of bring out the best in us.
So I always thought it was a Victor Hugo quote, but it's not. I always thought it was a Victor Hugo quote, but apparently when I was doing some prep for one of my talks, it's Confucius.
Oh, is it? But
and it's our greatest struggle. Our greatest achievement is not in never falling down, but in picking ourselves up again each time that we fall.
And that's the thing, I think. And I think what I'm trying to say is that whether you make the start line or not, it still all falls under the same umbrella of. I've had marathons where I've not made the start line. I had operations. I've had marathons where I've made it and it's gone well. But the reality is, it all still stands that, you know, whether you're struggling on the day but it's going well and it's struggling, or whether you've not made the start line, just facing that uncomfortable struggle or putting yourself in those positions is the important bit. Keep turning up and facing these things head on is the number one thing that we should be doing. And so if you do get an injury, you can't start, facing that head on is the best thing we can do.
It's dealing with the emotions, isn't it? Processing it and learning what you can from it. And also a good point at this stage, we're kind of into that, or starting to approach that taper. You might have one last race coming up, as Lynsey's got, or you might just be kind of starting to think about things as James was, in terms of getting your head straight. And it is a good time, I think, to look back through your training, look back on the journey and see what you have done to this point. And that might build up the excitement a little bit more. Keep a lid on that, but keep it going in a good direction, because we want a kind of gentle, what would you say, Tom? A gentle build, like a simmering of the excitement coming into race day. You don't want to get overexcited too early. And you want to be at the right level of nerves on marathon morning. So anybody who's worrying about being too nervous, you kind of just bring it down to a level where it just feels like an excited nerves. And I think that's the best way that I can describe a kind of beneficial level of nerves.
Well, it's realizing that nerves isn't the actual chemical reaction of nerves is not a negative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As Steve Peters said, the actual mechanism of feeling that is about how we process it and direct it. And I think as we freshen up, you're more aware of those that kind of chemical reaction, should I say? You're more aware of the fact that you've got a bit more energy in the legs. And I think for me, I don't know about you, but routine was key for me.
Yeah.
Because quite often when we've got big runs coming up, we have to be routine because it takes so much of our day up, and we've got a lot to fit in. And as those runs reduce, you're realizing, I can take a bit longer to get out the door because I don't have 2 hours to do. I've got an hour to do, and so I can procrastinate. And I think it's important to keep the discipline around the timings you are on, or the discipline around things, because that's actually going to give you the karma to manage a lot of these nerves, rather than kind of being, I'm going to wait an extra half an hour before I do my run because I don't have to cram it in as much. And I think the procrastination or the lack of discipline can add to that nervousness or lethargic feeling.
And plan other things into that time as well. So if you might be spending more time ordinarily in the week training, obviously the week of the marathon you're not, but you need to make sure that you've packed your bags, that you've packed your snacks, that you've booked your restaurant the night before, because as we've said a lot of times, everybody wants to find the Italian for the pasta in London, and there aren't that many restaurants given how many people are coming into town for the marathon. So think about that in advance. Make sure you take your breakfast with you, because it's unlikely that you're going to find exactly what you've planned with in the hotel. You might even need to do it in your room because you're heading out to Blackheath. Plan your journey. Plan where your friends and family are going to be along the route. So use that extra time constructively rather than sitting there letting the nerves get a little bit too high. But do spend the time just to think about how important it is for you, all the work that you've put in, and kind of make that vow just to go out and have fun no matter what. Keep enjoying it out there.
No, exactly. And apply the fun in your training as well, because you spent a lot of time being structured towards getting yourself fit and physically ready for the marathon day. And as you back off, have a bit of fun with the types of session, because if you reduce the volume and you're reducing what you're doing, have a play around with what you're doing. Don't be trying to, I don't know, go to the park run and on the Saturday 2 weeks out and just have some fun with it. It's very much about kind of keeping that lightheartedness with it in those sessions. And if turning up, and we spoke about it to one of the listeners around, we use Great South as a really good tool 2 weeks out. But the main purpose was you're so focused on that, you're not thinking about the marathon because you're bringing your mind into that day. Yeah. So have fun with it, play around. What does your heart and tell you that it wants to do? Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to put it. I think you spend so long in the marathon build-up in that slog and in that practicing the mental technique, which you should have been, but you know your mental technique now for race day. So it is now about the fun part, and don't be afraid to think, okay, right, I really fancy going on that run today. And I know it's maybe not the ideal one, but I'm just going to go with it. Do that sometimes. Just have some fun, mix it up. And now it is time for another discount code advantage that we're bringing to Paula's Run Club listeners, and it is the Wahoo Kick a Run treadmill, Thommo, which is an amazing piece of kit. I love the dynamic pacing that just adapts to you, because we all naturally surge, don't we, when we run? Yeah, but I think it's not only that. I think when I've been historically on a treadmill, the kind of the it's a set pace and it's doing it for you, and you're almost your mechanics are almost switched to just holding on to that pace. But the fact you can control the pace, the fact you have to surge, the fact you have to concentrate, the fact you can react how you would outside is a real game changer on a treadmill, because actually the mechanics now on this treadmill can actually mirror the kind of mechanics you would have outside, which is for me has always been a big thing for me to have the desire to be able to do, basically.
Yeah, so we want to feel like we're running outside, inside, and you can simulate the courses as well, which I think is a brilliant thing. So you can go and practice the course that you want to run over, or sections of that in your training. So if you want to find out more details, and of course, use that extra special discount code, which is Paula's Run Club, all in capitals, all one word, you will get a amazing piece of kit. It's a free headwind fan, cooling fan, but it's more than a fan. It's a really efficient piece of kit that I use all the time when I'm in the gym. You need to head to wahoofitness.com and use that discount code again, Paula's Run Club, and check out the Wahoo Kick a Run treadmill, which is brilliant. A reminder as well, of course, for the Heiko code, you head to drinkheiko.co.uk. You can get 10% off your first order. And then if you like it, which we kind of are pretty sure you will do, you get 20% off the next order. And that is using the discount code PRC. That is, I'm afraid, all we've got time for this week. To squeezed everything into that. Thank you so much to the listeners for writing in, of course. Please keep sending in those questions to Paula's Run Club at momentumbroadcast.co.uk, to socials at Paula's Run Club, and to that WhatsApp number, which is +44 7564 747 914. This has been a Momentum Media production. Don't forget the Shakeout drops on Thursday, and we are building into London, and you are nearly there. You're in the taper. Goodbye.
See you later.